narcissistic abuse. FOG stands for fear, obligation, and guilt. Those are the three things that narcissists and manipulative people use to gain control over you. And one of the things that I don't really hear people talk about that much, that is a downfall that I went through with my narcissistic relationship, was dating somebody because they're nothing like your ex. Okay? So, like, in theory, that sounds great. My ex, blah, blah, blah. So, theory with my other ex from before was, like, he had his own things going on, and he was very indecisive, and it tended to be me making a lot of the decisions, and it, making what we're gonna eat, making what movie we're gonna watch, deciding what we're gonna do. I don't know, whatever you want to do. And that in its own is its own problem for another day. But because I had that in me from my old relationship and hadn't healed that, then I took that when I was looking and dating or whatever, dating whoever. And when I met my narcissistic ex, I freaking was like so down, and was so freaking down with it because he did stuff. How crazy. What a low standard. He does stuff. Because my other ex was like, he just didn't like to do things, and he didn't like to make decisions, and I had to do the decisions and do the things, And so when I met my narcissistic ex, he did stuff. He did a lot of stuff, and I was like, oh, yes. My God, you're gonna actually go do it your damn self without me telling you? I'm swooning. The bare minimum. But that's what they talk about in that book with Out of the Fog by Dana Morningstar. She talks about not dating somebody or getting into a relationship specifically because they're nothing like your ex. Because that was a huge part of me dating a narcissist. It was like just going for that immediately because he was nothing like my ex. He was like kind of the opposite. And the problem isn't that it's okay to say it, like, if you want to date somebody and they're not like your ex, but the problem is when you're not balanced and you go full force because you're like, yeah, you're nothing like my ex, you do stuff, I'm down with it, but you don't take into consideration all the other factors that need to be there, like, I don't know, the balance of who they are as a person, and if they match with you, where they are in their journey of life and maturity level, and like, that's what it talks about in the book, and it's like, it's crazy, because I never thought of that before I read that book, or I never even comprehended thinking about the idea of don't just date someone because they're nothing like your ex. Like, I didn't even think about that until I read that book. I don't hear people talking about it that much, and it's just something I just want to point out. Yes, if you don't want to date someone like your ex, that's fine, but you have to also make sure that you're not still wounded from your old relationship, that you're just like kind of going out of like a wounded place and being like, as long as you're not like my ex, I'm down, because you have to be aware of not being like your ex in the ways that you didn't like, but also to be compatible to you in a healthy way, in the place you are emotionally, in a place they are emotionally, and if you guys can work together well, because when you're from that wounded place, you're just like, well, my ex didn't do stuff, he didn't do anything, I always had to do everything, so I met this guy does stuff on his own without me telling him, I'm down, I'm not going to look to any further into any other qualities or really investigate that much further before I start putting all my eggs in his basket. Yeah, because that's what I did. I was so excited that he did stuff. Girl, the bare minimum effort. Oh my God, the bare minimum freaking standards I used to have. It's wild, girl. It's wild. But I mean, at least through all this stuff, like, I don't know who people are that are going to be qualified to date me after all this stuff, but they're going to have to be very, very mature and conscious and respectful and have human emotions and empathy and feeling and do stuff on their own, but be balanced. distracted because I'm just like starting to revisit my own thoughts. So just make sure if you are going to date someone, make sure the reason isn't coming from the wounded place of, well, he's nothing like my ex. It'll be great. Okay? Check out Out of the Fog by Dana Morningstar.